Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sandy Glaze. I'm a personal transformation and self-development coach. And what I wanted to speak about today was my theme for 2023 is standing in your magnificence. And what I'd like to speak about today is the level of consciousness of pride and why this is so important. So for many people, we're waking up and we're realizing something doesn't make sense or things aren't adding up. And that's all part of the consciousness growth. And what is happening is, as we're starting to move through and raise our consciousness, it's important that we understand the levels of consciousness that we're moving through. And I know I've shown this chart on many occasions, David Hawkins' cone of consciousness. And when you look at pride, pride registers at 175. That's the frequency that he's given at the level of consciousness. If you see pride vibrates above anger at 150 and fear at 100, but when you see pride, what's above pride is the move up to courage. And if we're going to make changes in the world and make changes in ourselves, sometimes it takes a bit of courage to do that. So when we're looking at courage, how much courage does it take to look at ourselves and be proud of ourselves? And sometimes that's a really hard thing to do if you haven't been encouraged to do that before. So many of us are being called to stand up and make changes in the world, make changes in ourselves, look at things with a different lens. So a lot of this is coming up for a lot of people, but to do that, we have to understand where it is we're at on the level of consciousness. So it doesn't matter if you're at fear, it doesn't matter if you're processed through anger and you're working your way up. We're all moving through this shift together in whatever lengths and whatever, speed, time frames, whatever. We're making these changes. But what I did was with pride, when I'm looking at this, why are people not feeling proud of themselves? And this is what I'm finding. Some people think they're not worthy, or they're not deserving, or they're not good enough, whatever these things are. But if we stay in those frames of mind and frames of reference, we're never going to be able to be proud of ourselves and work up to courage if we don't know what we're proud of ourselves for. So what I did was I decided to look up a few definitions of the word pride, and I'm just going to read a few of them off and see if one resonates with you. Pride, a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements. My opinion, we're supposed to be proud of what we've accomplished. And it's okay to be proud, but it doesn't mean you're arrogant or that your ego's out of whack because you're proud of what you did. You're supposed to feel good about yourself. This is one of the suppressions, I think, that people have been suppressed into seeing how magnificent we really are. So I'll put it that way. Another definition, consciousness of one's own dignity, which is an interesting one. And a third definition, be especially proud of a particular quality of skill. And when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this cone of consciousness, and this belongs to humanity. This belongs to every person. And I'm thinking, why was the word pride hijacked by one group that they think they alone have the right to use the word pride, and that it depicts who they are? And I'm just saying, no, it belongs to everybody. There isn't one level of consciousness on this cone that belongs to any one group. This is all the human condition of consciousness, is how I'm seeing it. So when I look at the second definition, consciousness of one's own dignity, well, what's your dignity? Your dignity is whether you do things that are demeaning to yourself. Your dignity is whether you let somebody hurt you or you hurt somebody else. Your dignity is the very essence of what you stand for. So part of what, for me, reestablishing this foundation of pride is taking a look at what you stand for and creating this foundation, this emotional foundation of values and morality. So what are your values? So I'm going to just read off a few of them here. What does respect mean? So dignity for me would be you have mutual respect. You have respect for someone else, but you expect them to have respect for you. And if you don't, then that's something you have to look at. So what is integrity? What does integrity mean? That you're aligned with truth, that you're aligned with decency, you're aligned with, fill in your own blanks on that one. I might have to come back to integrity. Have an intact moral compass. So if you see something, there's a saying, if you see something, say something, but usually when people do that, they get blasted for what they've spoken up against. But what your moral compass tell you is right or wrong. Follow that, because that's going to be a really strong guide for you, knowing right from wrong. And part of that is going to be established through boundaries. Part of that is going to be established through following your own intuition and your gut instinct. What is the difference between right or wrong? Do you know if it's wrong if you do a certain behavior, if you steal something that didn't belong to you or take something that didn't belong to you, if you know it's wrong, then you're going out of alignment with your own integrity because you're not in alignment with what your values are. So what was another one I have here? Practicing healthy boundaries, which are both incoming and outgoing. So there's a bifurcation happening right now in society, and we're seeing people who are, I'm going to say, showing their true colors, but whether the true colors are that they do understand what their moral and foundation of values are, they understand what theirs are and they're aligned with it, or they're not. And it's not about judgment. Unscrupulous people have to own their stuff, but what we're finding is I think more people are recognizing what unscrupulous behavior looks like. So I'm not using it to describe people, I'm using it to describe behavior. So when we're looking at all of these different aspects of being proud of yourself, what this does is helps you create your own code of honor, what you'll do and not do. And it's interesting because I'm watching people set boundaries for the first time, and it can be such an uncomfortable feeling because you're not used to saying no to people. But there's nothing wrong with standing up and saying no if that's what you feel you need to do. So it doesn't mean you have to go along with somebody else because they have a position, like whether it's a teacher, whoever it is, of authority over you. It's really important that you define your own code of honor so that you can feel really proud of who you are. And then that gives you the courage to stand up because it's almost like you have your own back. It's really an interesting dynamic. So there's no one group that owns the word pride. We should all be proud of who we are. And if some people maybe aren't in the practice of understanding what they're proud of, so maybe write down 3 accomplishments, things you've done in your life that you feel good about. You do not have to share that list with anybody, but you can be proud of who you are and know inside that you've done something amazing and it feels really good. But this is how we start turning around and moving towards courage and the higher frequencies of love, willingness, what's another one? Joy, like all of these, peace, all of these, enlightenment, the truth. But this is how we do it, because we start moving our energy upward and we move our awareness upward. And once we look at it and say it's okay to be proud of who we are, it doesn't mean we're arrogant. It does not mean that we have more rights than somebody else. It doesn't mean any of those things. But it's a natural process to go through when you're raising your consciousness, which many people are trying to do at this point in time, right? So I just wanted to share those. And the last point I wanted to make with this, start looking for what's right for you instead of what's wrong. And for whatever reason, that seems to be the go-to. I kind of touched on it just a little earlier, but look for what's right for you. Because if all you're looking for is what's wrong with you, that's where you're going to go down, because you're just looking for what's holding you back, what you feel ashamed of, what you feel guilty for. If you're looking for, if in this context, if that's what you're looking for, you're going to find whatever way you choose to put your direction. So I'm just putting it out there that it's okay to be proud of who you are. It's okay to know what you've accomplished. It's all right to know what you're good at. That is how we raise our consciousness. So I hope you find this video helpful, and even in your own journey, be proud of who you are as you're starting to awaken. And it doesn't matter if you're the beginning of the pack, the middle of the pack, the end of the pack, it doesn't matter. We're all part of this movement. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, share it with people that you think maybe it's okay for them to be proud of who they are, and you want to encourage them to look at themselves with different eyes. And by all means, subscribe to my channel, and I'll be sending out more videos like this. And let's turn this around and stand in our magnificence in 2023 and really have a good time doing it. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you soon.